Hey guys, Operator Drewski here, and today we're going to be doing my full guide on ArmA 3 King of the Hill. You guys have seen me playing this game mode in the past through, I bet, probably over 7 videos of mine. I've probably shown King of the Hill gameplay. 3 of those videos, or like half of those videos, have been in the last week, where I showed the SPAR 16 versus the MXSW, where I showed my AK-12 video, and where I showed my grenade launcher video. A lot of you guys said, oh my gosh, Drewski, you're a lord, but honestly, those were just the cuts of the video that I did good in. You guys didn't see me totally fail, but you learn from your mistakes whenever you die. So I'm going to be going over what I want to kind of give to a new player of ArmA 3 King of the Hill, a new player of ArmA in a nutshell, of how to play first-person or third-person gameplay in an infantry warfare situation as effectively as they can possibly do it. Now, there are a lot of weird, kinky things that you have to kind of keep in mind to be able to play ArmA 3 in a really competitive mindset, and there are a lot of weird things about ArmA 3 King of the Hill that you need to kind of know. But it's pretty basic game mode, so I'm going to go over that first. So King of the Hill is a, well, King of the Hill match. It is a very large sector control type of mission. There's 3 different teams, Blue 4, Independent, and Op 4, that go after this central point that is probably the size of an entire town. As you can see, I did a little circle here for you guys. That's definitely a beautiful circle. I'm going to try it. Let's try better than that. Let's try it like a boom, like that. It's definitely a smaller objective than that if you're playing on the Kavala King of the Hill. Pretty much you're trying to get your team's points up to 100, so having the most amount of people in the circle will slowly kind of count up your points all the way up towards 100 until your team fully wins. So again, how you win King of the Hill? Have as many people as possible within the circle. You don't need to get kills, you don't need to get, any objectives or anything actually done in the circle. You can seriously get an entire squad sitting in one area of bushes, and if that squad is big enough, they can win the match. So they're like, you could win a match. Again, you could win a match with no kills. You could win a match with your entire team getting no kills. So first off, you need to be in the circle. So being outside the circle, being a pilot that flies people in, that's perfectly fine. But being a sniper or anything like that that's outside the circle isn't exactly that effective, and you're not helping your team out that much to win the game. That after you win bonus kind of thing gets you a lot of experience and a lot of money towards your next cool weapon that you want to buy. So make sure that you're always in the circle and supporting your team. That is a big deal. Now within the circle, there are a pretty few interesting objects that are placed in most of the King of the Hill maps. There are big towers like these. Now this is the center tower, so this is usually the double stacked tower, and this tower has, again, 1 and 2 towers stacked on top of each other. So this tower is, going to be able to look over a pretty big area of the map, especially when it's just that high, when you've got snipers looking down from it, when you've got machine gunners pointing at you from it. It's a pretty big powerhouse. Now, it is pretty easy to flank, as there just is a simple stairwell at the bottom, and you can just walk straight up. So do know that if you're in one of these towers, they can't really look exactly straight down. So the big weakness, again, I will say, a gigantic weakness, is that right here, that tower can't do anything to me. I'm right at the bottom of the tower. That tower cannot do anything. So again, if you're up in that tower and you're defending from the tower, you have a massive dead zone that only goes like to about right here. You probably couldn't shoot anybody past this unless you were trying to fall out the window, to be honest, and like glitching through the window to be able to like aim down that far over a window. But again, so that is the weak spot. Now I'm going to kind of be going over how to raid these towers, because the towers, again, are pretty much powerhouses of controlling entire areas. Probably a tower like this one will be able to control all the rooftops around this area, and that just shows, that's about a good 1/4, maybe 1/3 of the entire map, and that is a big difference. These towers probably control all of this area through here. This tower, I don't even know if that's a tower, this tower probably controls all of this area, and you've got overlapping control points. So if you have these towers that are overlooking each other's control points, then if you control the towers, you really do control the game. So being able to be a person like me who rushes into towers, who likes to flank and stuff, is a really interesting tactic, and it is a hard thing to do, but it is necessary. It is very necessary that you go and clean out these towers of bad guys, because they will control you by sniping into you, by shooting rockets from the tower, by shooting machine guns from the tower, a lot of different stuff. So first off, we're going to be going over basic combat. Now you start off with a TRG. And this is a 5.56 30-round mag basic assault rifle. It's really accurate at farther ranges, barely has any recoil, therefore it's a really, really good starter gun. Now, it doesn't have a lot of damage compared to a lot of the guns you're going to be seeing, so you are going to be having to be spraying it. But the thing is that fully automatic guns in King of the Hill, or any ArmA 3 competitive type of game mode like this, are, in my opinion, the most effective. Now, I have 2,000 plus hours in ArmA 3. Again, I have no life. I do this as a job. I have 2,000 hours in ArmA 3, and in my opinion, the frame rate drop that you get when you look into a scope of a long distance weapon, or when you're trying to track somebody with a, a sniper rifle, is too low to be able to effectively snipe or do any marksman type of stuff. So first thought that a lot of people do is that they go, I want to get a sniper rifle right after I have this, cheap ass little 5.56 in my hand right here. That is not what you should do. You should get a fully automatic gun that's better than the 5.56 instead of a sniper rifle, and you should kind of stay with that just for a little bit. If you want to be a sniper, go ahead, but you'll probably be having to be outside of the circle, like over on this hill or over on this hill, and that does not help your team. That does not help your team at all, being a sniper. You get kills, but you don't get anything other than that, and you probably aren't getting as many kills as your friends will when they're inside the area. It doesn't matter if you die, so go crazy. You're supposed to kind of be chaotic in this game mode. If you die, that does not affect the game mode whatsoever. That just gives someone $100 for their next gun. So that doesn't really matter if you die, so pretty much YOLO everywhere. It doesn't, again, your life does not matter. You can always respawn. Now, I know that the realism nerds of ArmA 3 might get upset at you if you use ArmA 3's third-person system, the dreaded third person, but third person does give you an advantage. Let me just say that. Third person gives you a massive advantage, especially in close quarter firefights where you really are just kind of chaotically firing at somebody, and it gives you an advantage of looking over walls, doing stuff like that. Other players are going to be using third person just as much as you are. People might say, wow, you looked over the wall in third person, but who cares? They were probably doing it too. Everybody will resort to third person at some point because in the long run, it's more effective than first person. There is no reason overall, unless you are literally trying to get a precise shot at a hip fire distance with your gun, that there's no reason to use first person. Let me just say that again, no reason to use first person, unless your third person view is just absolutely not usable for what you're trying to do. So, we're just going to be doing a quick kind of demonstration of third person. Now, if there is a second guy, I'm gonna spawn a guy to stand behind an object. So let's say this fence right here. You can use third person to be able to look over this fence and see that guy. Now I can actually, I think, see him right now. But let's say he was crouching. Let's put him in a prone position and let's put him against that wall right there. So he's going to go prone behind that wall, and I don't see him at all. I am absolutely clueless. If I walk over to the wall and try to look down, I still can't see him because he's over the wall. Even if I look up, even if I put my stance even higher, I still can't look over that wall enough. If I go to third person and go like that, that's how simple it is to see that guy. Now, another thing is that when you are in a crazy firefight with someone, third person is very, very effective because you can see all around you. ArmA 3's movement mechanics aren't exactly perfect, and being able to see, okay, this fence is exactly right there while you're actually in front of the fence is very effective at knowing, okay, there's a fence behind me, because let's say a guy comes through that door, he has a more powerful gun than I do, and I need to get out of there. Well, if I need to back up while firing at the guy, then I won't know, because again, in ArmA 3 you have much less awareness than you do in real life. I won't know that fence is behind me. I'll probably forget about it, to be honest. So if I backed up right now, I'd run into this fence and probably get killed. Now, if I were to back up in third person, I'd know the fence was there, be able to move out like that. As well as, if you're looking at steps like this, it's just easier to be able to see stuff whenever you're walking around. You can actually see where you're stepping instead of having to look straight down to see where you're stepping all the time, looking like this. So again, third person, especially when you double tap the minus button, is effective. And I'll say that again. Yes, it is unrealistic, but it is available. It is an advantage that you can use to your advantage to be able to kill people. So why not? You need to always create an unfair advantage if you're fighting other people, especially if you're a new guy in ArmA 3, because you won't be able to be doing that good until you get better weapons in this game mode. But a TRG in the long run won't be able to do the amount of damage that a big machine gun or a just better assault rifle can do. So overall, I would suggest, learning how to use the C button whenever needed and kind of running around like this with your gun down, but then whenever you see somebody, just hold up the C gun and hip fire. Just hip fire the heck out of them. Like that. Now, that is a very easy method of aiming, and you aren't going to be losing much accuracy. Now, if you do need to actually zoom in to get farther distance shots, let's say if I need to headshot a guy, then you do need to zoom in into your red dot and actually, single or double tap him or something. But if you're in a close quarters firefight, I think the easiest method, and what you see me doing the most, is that I click the C button, and so I'm able to put my gun up. As you can see, when I click the C button, the crosshairs appear, and I have my gun at the ready, but at a kind of tactical ready stance, at a low ready or whatever, I don't really know what exactly to call it, then I don't have my reticle up, but I can still fire, but it's not as easy. You have to actually double click to be able to fire, because if I click once, then I don't actually immediately fire. I have to click one more time to be able to fire from that stance. So always make sure if you're entering a building where you know that there's a guy in it, always make sure to click that C button, and so your crosshairs appear, and make sure to have a full mag before you go up, and if you see a guy, then you can easily spray him. Now, this is good for lower FPS as well. I always have kind of a saying where if you have low FPS, then get a high rate of fire gun. If you have low FPS, you're not going to be that accurate. It's not your fault. It's just because the game has terrible performance most of the time, especially on lower end PCs in these bigger population servers. And when you're in a situation like that where I'm, really close to somebody, you're going to be freaking out. You're going to be chaotic. The most experienced players will absolutely just be spraying all over the place in ArmA, because that's just ArmA 3 gameplay. You really can't be extremely well off with your accuracy in this game. But you can kind of give yourself an advantage to that if you do have lower FPS. Now, let me just give a quick guide on overall settings you need to do in ArmA 3 King of the Hill to have the best FPS. Now, first off, go to options, go to your video settings, turn objects to low. I was running at 38 frames, and now I'm running at 45. So let's just show that an example right there, where I was running, again, single player, pretty much empty mission, and I was getting 38 frames. Now I'm running 45. Another thing, lower your object and overall distance to nothing. Shadow distance can do the same thing. It won't really make a difference in your FPS. It acts like it does, but honestly, in my Dxtory, it doesn't make a difference for some reason. But you can also lower your shadow detail to disabled, and that will heighten your FPS slightly. Again, your GPU really depends on that. Doesn't really matter for CPU as much. But these settings by themselves will make your game so much more smoother. Now, as you can see in the top right now, I went from like 38 or something up to 60. On my Dxtory, it says 61. So it's about 61. That made a almost, I guess, 20 frame difference just by adjusting some settings. So that is a big difference just by adjusting some settings. You can do all this. That is pretty much GPU dependent. So if you have a good graphics card, it doesn't really matter. You can honestly have shadows on if you want, if you have a good graphics card. But if the server even allows it, you can disable them to give yourself a slight advantage. If someone's hiding in a shadow and they think they're being all stealthy and stuff, then they won't be, because the shadows aren't even there. So lowering your settings down, even lowering your textures down to minimum, actually make it slightly easier to see people at distances, just because the lighting is a little bit more simple. Textures are a little bit more simple, so seeing contrast of a person to compared to a wall is going to be a little bit easier with lower settings on. Now, that is how to get better FPS. And why do I say, get a higher rate of fire gun if you have low FPS? Because, again, you're going to be spraying. You're going to be going into buildings and just spraying people like crazy. And a big advantage to have, and this is why I'm going to be kind of going over my loadout now, a big advantage to have with those spraying like crazy type of firefights, close quarters like crazy, especially when there's multiple people, is that you need a bigger magazine than a 5.56 with 30 rounds. So I'm going to be showing my loadout, and this is why I like to say tip number one, the most important tip, is be a multi-role player. Be a multi-role player. Always make sure that you can take out vehicles. Always make sure that you can take out a squad of people. Always make sure that you can take out a person at longer ranges. Always make sure that you can take out a person at closer ranges. Always try to be as well-rounded as possible with your loadout, because that is going to really matter a lot in a King of the Hill game. You aren't going to be, I guess, in one spot the entire time, knowing exactly what's going to come next. This is a war zone. It's going to be insane. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be crazy. So you do need to be well-rounded. That is why I would suggest something like the MXSW for a starter player, because the MXSW, 1, is fully automatic, 2, it's 6.5, and 3, it has 3 mags. Sorry, I think you start with 3 mags, right? I think you start with 3 mags of 100 rounds each. 100 rounds each means that you can just spray into somebody, and you never have to worry about reloading for a very, very long time. So if there's a guy in this building, and this is a very common occurrence, by the way, going upstairs and finding somebody in these buildings, going upstairs, finding a guy at that corner, oh, he's finally dead. And I still have 44 rounds left. There's a guy coming up the stairs. It is that easy, and with a gun like this, it's usually a 3-shot kill to an armored chest plate. So knowing that, you can really get a lot of damage on somebody if they are having a gun that is lesser rate of fire than yours or lesser magazine capacity, just because of the fact that they'll have to reload, or they just can't get a good shot on you because their FPS is so low and their rate of fire is so low as well that they can't really get a good accurate shot or more than one shot or two. So having this type of a gun really is effective because, again, if I wanted to shoot somebody at a far away distance, let's say there's a sniper in that building right there, I can just rest this on the ground and fire fully automatically into that window. Let's try to get this on target. And as you can see, about 90% of those shots went into that window. So this is a very accurate rifle, and you don't really need a sniper rifle to reach out to people like that. All you need is some good little stability, and you're able to really get some good accurate shots off, especially with that suppressive fire. It kind of makes up for its inaccuracy and lower amount of damage than an actual sniper rifle with its just amount of fire, with its amount of suppression, and its amount of damage you can do per second with this gun. You can literally take out a squad of people up close and really, really far away with this gun, and it is definitely an excellent starter rifle. Another thing is, a lot of people were saying, why don't you just go for a full LMG instead of just putting a 100 magazine in a standard MX? Well, I like to go with a multi-role loadout. As I said before, I like to be able to take out vehicles as well as taking out personnel. So being able to strap on an RPG, let me get a little backpack on too, an RPG with 2 rockets, that's 2 rockets, so that can take out 2 Ifrits, it can take out a tank, it can take out any APCs, it can take out a helicopter, it can take out, you know, a lot of different stuff. You can honestly actually take out, I think you start with 3, or do you start with 2 rockets? I'm not really sure. I think you start with 2. But you can do 1 rocket per helicopter, and you can take out a squad of like 8 people in a single heli. It's awesome, and it's definitely worth it. So a basic guide of how to use the RPG, and again, look at my stamina bar at the top right. There is still a lot of space that is in my inventory, and I'm running around with an RPG and pretty much a light machine gun. That is a big advantage over a standard person, especially when you have that fatigue perk, which disables your fatigue or makes your fatigue lesser. It's definitely a really nice role to play as, because you do have a little bit less fatigue as this role, but again, you should be just cautious of your fatigue. Don't sprint around like crazy all the time. You shouldn't be doing that anyways, because people will hear you. So, I mean, run around like this pretty much a lot. Be cautious of your surroundings, and if you do see an Ifrit, make sure to, know how to use the RPG. So again, we're going to do a quick guide of how to use the RPG here. So let's say we have a vehicle down the road. We have a vehicle down this road. What is it? What is it going to be? Well, it's going to be an empty Strider. Oh no, an empty Strider, and it's down the road. What are we going to do? So if this Strider is about 150 meters away, I'm guessing, I'm just going to guesstimate that, then where do I need to aim this? Well, actually, that 1.5 is exactly where I need to aim this. So this dot right here, if I wanted to hit that little tire right there, I could fire right there. If I want to hit the front tire, fire right there. But if that's at 200 meters, then I just aim it like that. If it's 300, I would aim it like that. 400 like that, 500 like that, 600 you can actually guess it, 700 probably like that, 800 probably like that. It actually drops less as it goes farther away, so 1,000 meters would probably be something like probably like that. So again, if it's 50 meters away from you, you're going to aim like this. So as you can see, it's pretty basic. 1 is for 100 meters, 1.5, 150 meters, 2, 200 meters, 3, 300 meters, etc. So this is probably 150 meters away, boom. And it was actually a little bit around 200, so I missed, so I'm going to fire again. And kaboomy, the vehicle's dead. So that is a basic guide of how to use the RPG. Just basic ranging can get you a lot of kills with this. As you've seen in my RPG video, you can definitely become very, very effective with the RPG and take out a lot of people when they're flying around, carelessly with helicopters. You can do a lot of damage with the RPG, and once you have fired both your RPG rockets, make sure that you drop your backpack and you drop your RPG, because you don't need that weight anymore. So once you drop those, you've become a much lighter person, almost twice as lightweight, by the way, and you're able to run around and go crazy now because you have a lot of stamina. So always make sure that once you fire those 2 rockets that you do have, sorry, bunny, I just had to do that, that you do have them dropped on the ground, because you won't need them anymore unless you actually find some more rockets, which is extremely rare in a King of the Hill gameplay. Usually, if you find rockets, it's probably on a dead guy, and he's probably got a rocket launcher on him anyways and a backpack on him, so you can just grab that. Now, another thing I wanted to mention about your loadout is that there is a lot of different loadouts that are available in ArmA 3 King of the Hill. Now, right now, I'm going to put a small little kind of clip of just kind of choosing your loadout, choosing your kind of character appearance in King of the Hill. And let me say, there's no reason to actually change it. Other than CSAT, never change your loadout or appearance to a different class. This is because, one, ghillie suits really don't work for ArmA, and two, armor is everything. Armor is seriously everything in ArmA 3. Someone might shoot you with a pistol. If you don't have a vest on, you'll instantly die. If you have a ghillie suit on, you'll instantly die. But if they shoot you with a rifle and you have a bulletproof vest on, you might be able to live through that. Actually, you'll probably take 3 shots before you actually die. So that is the reason why you want to wear as much armor as possible. So always try to choose the guy that has the vest that is like something like a carrier rig that looks like this, or carrier light, whatever. And also the helmet. Helmets are very, very important as well for fragmentation protection when a grenade goes off near you. Grenades equal helmet protection, or grenades versus helmet protection. It's pretty much their biggest weakness, as well as these helmets can actually block bullets sometimes. So if someone wants to get you a funny little kill and shoot you in the back of the head, I've actually tried to do that before with a 5.56. And even with a 5.56 at some closer ranges, it might deflect off your helmet because the angle is just that perfectly right. But it will not deflect off your head, it will go through your cranium. So just make sure you wear a helmet, boys. So again, even though you think that loadout with, you know, the super cool full ghillie suit with no vest or something is really cool looking, don't wear it. Never wear this. It's not effective. Make sure that you do have a carrier rig. This is going to look stupid because it's all tropical stuff. Make sure that you do have a carrier rig as well as just standard combat fatigues and a helmet, because those are going to be the best for just overall ballistic protection and fragmentation protection. Now, the interesting thing about CSAT is that they have a guy that's called Spec Ops. Now, let me just recreate the loadout that he has in current ArmA 3 King of the Hill as of like mid-year 2016. So he has, where's the CSAT clothes? I don't even know where the CSAT fatigues are. There we go. He has urban fatigues. He has a carrier rig black, and then he has, he can wear any backpack he wants. But then the interesting thing is that he has a protector helmet on. Now the CSAT clothing itself is actually, or I think it's actually Defender because it's black, isn't it? Or it's the Assassin helmet. Never mind, it's the Assassin helmet. He actually wears the Assassin helmet, which is actually one of the best helmets in the game, as well as the CSAT uniform itself is actually very protective against fragmentation. So throwing grenades against this guy is going to be very challenging, as well as he actually has the same amount of ballistic protection, even more with his helmet, than a standard rifleman on a NATO or green team. So just know that this guy, this loadout Spec Ops, is actually one of the best you can get, just because his protection, his ballistic protection, is actually some of the highest. And that's why you see me playing as this guy a lot, just because the Spec Ops character has that CSAT clothing that kind of makes it very, very hard for you to get killed with grenades, and also has a ballistic vest, unlike the standard little LBV harnesses that it usually gives you as a CSAT operator, which don't have any ballistic protection. So make sure, again, armor is everything. Always have whatever the heaviest vest you can get. Doesn't really matter about stamina. Again, you can go through so many fights with armor on compared to if you don't have armor on. I've been through so many times. I've had so many occasions where me and another guy get into a firefight, and because I have the armor on and he doesn't, I'm able to kill him. He gets a few shots off on my chest, but because I'm wearing a chest plate, I can just use a first aid kit and keep on walking, and he's dead on the ground bleeding out. It is a big difference. Again, big difference. Don't run around with ghillie suits. Don't run around with like crewman suits on or anything stupid like that. If you have a vest, keep it. Don't change your appearance. And usually it's those first 2 characters of every single team that have the vest and helmet setup, and those are usually the best, other than CSAT's Spec Ops soldier, because CSAT's standard soldiers do have LBV harnesses instead of an actual plate carrier. Alright, so right now we're going to actually act like we're going to attack this tower. Like, there's a few guys in it, we don't really know exactly where they are. We just need to go attack this tower and kill anybody that's inside of it. Again, these towers control a large area of the map, about like this big, so make sure that you always have these under control, or pretty much whoever controls the center tower is a good sign of who's going to win. As you're going up these towers, again, I just actually made a mistake. I wasn't really doing it officially, though. As you're going up these towers, always make sure to look under the floor. If somebody's actually under the floor, or somebody's on the floor up there waiting for you, you'll actually usually be able to see them under the floor. So let me turn on my camera here and go underneath. You can actually see the body of the person laying on the floor, which is an ArmA 3 glitch, but it's actually very useful to kind of use to your advantage to be able to know if somebody's up there. So always make sure you see that, as well as when you're coming up, always make sure to aim at the floors as you're coming up here. Again, aim at the floor, but then also right as you check this floor, right as you make sure that nobody's within this area, you might not know if somebody's, you know, laying down that corner, but probably not. You'll probably see them by now. But right as you clear this area, again, look in third person, by the way. Always use third person if you're going to be doing this. Look straight up to that wall. Look straight up to this little gray area here, this little tan wall here, and then cut the pie. Again, you don't want to be in first person. You want to be in third person as you're going up this, and then just cut the pie. And again, you want to do this quickly. There's going to be snipers that are actually targeting people who are on these stairs, so you want to go up these stairs as fast as possible. And as you can see, I've actually kind of ran into a glitch here. Actually, these stairs are very, very wonky, and I want to show you why. Let's say we want to crouch walk up these stairs, right? Just kidding, you can't. So if you stand, you go up the stairs. If you crouch walk again, you're gonna get stuck. Again, you have to actually stand to walk up these stairs, which is really buggy. The third stairwell is, I don't know why, BI, but you have stairs messed up. This stairwell is the buggiest, and even if you stand up, sometimes you still can't get up it. So just try to sprint, like try to just sprint up this. Sometimes you just have to sprint straight up it, but it's the hardest thing because you'll be wanting to look up there, and you can't really get past this one little part of the stairs. But you do have to clear that room. So make sure you're going to clear this room. You're going to clear this room first, and make sure that you go out this door all the time. I'm going to show you why you go out that door instead of this door. So now, why you go out this right door is because your gun is on your right shoulder. Your barrel is on your right shoulder, so going and clearing to the right side of things is actually more effective because your gun can scoot out kind of like past a corner before the rest of your body does, or before like more of your body does than if you actually had your gun pointing to the left side of a corner. You actually show your entire face if you're leaning to the left around a corner, by the way, so make sure to always lean right or try to go to the right of something instead of going to the left. So as you're clearing these rooms, make sure you cut the pie in third person. Again, you can actually cut the entire pie of this room in third person without peeking around, which is definitely effective. Now make sure if somebody runs around, you need to be ready to kind of twitch out and fire. But you can actually, again, this is very douchebaggy, but other people will abuse it as well. You watch this video for advantages, I'm giving you advantages. You can totally peek around in third person and then go right in, and you're able to clear this entire room. Now again, if you actually want to be more tactical, you could clear it like this and make sure that nobody's on the stairs watching you. Now, this next room is the most confusing. Now I'm just going to show you a basic layout of this room. This room won't be exactly the same in terms of like these weird brick things here unless you're in the double tower. But this is basically what this room looks like, other than the weird kind of bricks, because there is a second one of these towers on top of this one in the center of the map. So as you go up this, my word of advice is that a person cannot shoot above this object right here. If you get right here and you want to shoot somebody on the stairs, you cannot shoot. You can only shoot up or down to that. And I'm as high as I can possibly go. I'm up as close to the wall, and if I bipod, I still can't shoot over that. So you don't actually have to worry about anybody peeking over this wall here and being able to shoot you. So your main concern when you get up here is what I do when I go up this ladder is I throw a grenade right over that wall, because someone's probably going to be camping there and not really knowing that they can't even peek over that wall. Then what you're going to do is clear this, and someone might be sitting in this corner, so always watch this, but you can actually clear this entire area with third person and then go up and shoot somebody if you need to. And as again, make sure that you're holding that C button. I wasn't actually doing it right then. Make sure that you're holding that C button so that your guy doesn't put his gun down, because like watch, I put my gun down whenever I move, and if I fire, then I kind of hold my gun up for a second, but then it will go straight back down after a second. So again, firing, and if I let go of the fire button, he goes back to the standard mode. So make sure that you click C so that he's always in that kind of fire mode when you go up here. So as I go up here, I'm going to be kind of, again, throwing a grenade over that wall to make sure that anybody back there is dead. And then I'm going to be clearing this area. Right as I clear this area, you go over to this corner. You go over this corner, then you're going to clear the rest of this. If these poles aren't here, then you're able to easily clear it. If these poles aren't here, then you're probably going to be able to go around. This tower is weird, and I just custom made this, so you can probably go around anyways. Make sure to clear the floor before you get to the next floor. Now, next floor is the top kind of compartment before you get to the roof. Now, a person can see you through that window if he's looking in third person. So just know you always need to clear to the left side. Now, carefully clear this corner here, and you should be good. From right here, go to this corner. Now, you're going to open this door, and you're going to clear to the left. So you're going to clear straight left, you're going to go all the way around and clear out this way. This makes it where usually people are going to be kind of looking away like this unless they hear you. If they're going to be hearing you, they're going to be kind of firing in here. So if you are actually going to the right and they're on the right side right there, you're going to be actually able to see them as you go out to the left. So make sure that you always kind of go out to the left side, because if you go out to the left side, then you're actually able to see them from this corner at the right. So you'll cover the right side already right as you open the door as you go out to the left and go this way. As you're doing this, you kind of need to rush because people will hear this door open and they'll instantly know that enemies are out here. So I would say, you know, if you see someone right here, just fire, 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 and then just run to the opposite side, see if there's anybody else. Fire, 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 fire in third person. Make sure you're reloaded before you go up here, by the way. And fire the third person or fourth person, whatever, and you'll get a lot of kills. Now, the same tactic applies to the rest of the towers. Pretty simple stuff right there. Also, one note about third person on these towers is that it's extremely effective if used correctly. So you can actually get up to these towers and look over the windows and just be perfectly safe. You can actually, you know, go in the low crouch stance. You can look over the windows in the third person stance. So it's very, very cheatsy, but it's definitely available, and you need to do this to be able to win because you'll see other players doing the same exact thing whenever you're playing this. Again, there's no hate to this. Everybody does it. You need to do this to stay alive, to be able to make sure that nobody flanks you. You can also do it at this window. Looking over, peeking, all the stuff you want. Whenever you see somebody, you scoot up and you shoot them. So guys, that is our basic guide of King of the Hill gameplay. We pretty much went over basic combat in ArmA 3, over third person using in ArmA 3, over what guns you want, you know, that multi-role capability of having an assault rifle and an AT rocket on your back. We also went over tower clearing and some basic overall just infantry combat tactics. So overall, this should help you a lot in King of the Hill gameplay, but I'm sure there are a lot of other tactics out there. Go out and play some King of the Hill with some guys, join a squad, have some fun, and learn a lot of lessons. It is definitely a fun game mode to play. Definitely gets you really, really experienced at playing ArmA 3 in terms of infantry combat. So it's definitely a good help, definitely a good training game mode to get you really, really good at ArmA 3 combat overall. If you guys had any more tactics that you want to kind of give to me, or if you wanted to show the new people to the ArmA 3 community what your favorite tactics are, make sure to put it in the comment section down below. As well as if I got anything wrong in this video, also put it in the comment section down below so that any new guy doesn't get false information if I said something wrong. So make sure that you put that in the comment section down below. And thanks guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Hostile. Oh, hello, buddy. We made it. No, this can't happen. No. Yeah, get him, buddy. Contact, man. 20. Oh my God. Slow down. Oh God.